こう来るか変態め。
キスか褒美
You know, sometimes I look at the state of the anime industry and I have to ask myself the big questions. Not what is the meaning of life or will One Piece ever end? No, I ask myself, how close can we get to the sun before we burn? How close can a shonen battle anime get to being straight up adult content before the broadcasting regulations tackle it to the ground and put it in a chokehold? We live in a sophisticated era, an era of culture. But every once in a while, a show comes along that doesn't just blur the line, it snorts the line, does a backflip over it, and then asks you to lick its boots. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the matriarchy. Welcome to a world where women have superpowers, men are basically decorative houseplants, and the fate of humanity rests entirely on how efficiently a high school boy can get rewarded. Today, we are diving deep into the peach-colored abyss of the chained soldier, or as I like to call it, 50 Shades of Slay. So let's set the scene. Japan has been invaded by a dimension called Mato, filled with ugly monsters called Shuki. But thanks to these magical peaches found in said dimension, humans gained superpowers. Well, women gained superpowers. Men, we got nothing. We are arguably more useless than Aqua in a drought. Society has shifted. It's a full-on matriarchy. The prime minister is a woman. I know what you're thinking. But no, the army is all women, and men are relegated to doing laundry and looking pretty. Enter our protagonist, Yuki Wakura. He's your standard, run-of-the-mill, vanilla wafer of a human being. He's got the personality of tap water and the domestic skills of a 1950s housewife. He just wants to be useful. He wants to be a hero. But unfortunately, his gender reveal party was a tragedy for his power scaling. Episode 1 kicks off with Yuki wandering into the demon dimension because plot convenience. He's about to get mauled by a CGI monster that looks like it escaped from a PS2 game when she saves him. Kyoka Uzen, the chief of the 7th Squad, the woman who launched 1,000 fan arts. She's distinct, efficient, and looking for a sidekick. But not just any sidekick. She needs a mount. See, Kyoka has a problem. Her superpower is slave. She can draw out the latent power of living things by enslaving them. But she can't enslave the monsters because they're too gross, and she can't enslave other girls because that's HR's nightmare. So she sees Yuki and thinks, you look like you have strong back muscles. Put this collar on. And thus, the pact is sealed. Yuki kisses the chain, transforms into a super-powered beast form that looks like a rejected Warframe design, and proceeds to absolutely obliterate the monsters. They win! Huzzah! But here's the catch. This is the gimmick that powers the entire show. This is the engine of our destruction. The slave ability has a cost. Maintaining Yuki's beast form drains Kyoka's stamina, and once the battle is over, the contract demands an equivalent exchange. A reward. And no, it's not a high five or a Starbucks gift card. The reward is a biological imperative determined by the intensity of the battle. Kyoka's body moves on its own to satisfy the servant. And the first episode ends with Yuki getting a reward that involves Kyoka's foot and a lot of intense staring.
Toby, be good for massa. Good?
That's all right, Toby. That's all right.
And I'm sitting there watching this, realizing that the writer of Akame ga Kill wrote this, and thinking, yeah, this makes sense. By episode 2, Yuki has moved into the 7th Squad dorms. He's now the official dorm manager, slave, and secret weapon. It's a hard life, but someone has to do it. We're introduced to the rest of the 7th Squad, which is basically a collection of eccentric personality disorders wrapped in spandex. First, we have Shushu. She's the chaotic element. Her power is changing her size. You can see where the internet went with that. She's loud, she's brash, and she immediately tries to seduce Yuki because she wants to steal Kyoka's promotion. It's petty workplace politics, but with more skin. Then we have Nei, the precious bean. She's tiny, she has sensory powers, and she must be protected at all costs. She finds out about the rewards and is traumatized for life. Join the club, Nei. And finally, Himari, the tsunist of tsuteres. She hates men, She looks at Yuki like he's a piece of gum stuck to her shoe, but, plot twist, she's a massive fanboy of Yuki's older sister, who was a famous hero. This creates a complex dynamic where she hates him but wants to know everything about his family. It's confusing, it's angry, and it's adorable. I think. Just when you think this is going to be a slice-of-life harem with extra steps, the actual plot decides to show up around episode 5. And surprisingly, it's kinda lit. We encounter the humanoid Shuki. These aren't your mindless CGI monsters. These are waifu villains. They can talk, they have strategy, and they have better character designs than half the heroes. We meet the leader of the bad guys, and hold on to your hats, folks. It's Aoba, Yuki's long-lost sister. Yeah, remember the sister I mentioned earlier, the hero? Well, she fell into a Mato vortex years ago, ate a peach, and instead of getting powers, she turned into a demon-human hybrid. Now she runs a gang of monster girls in the wasteland. The conflict here is actually compelling. Aoba isn't evil, she just wants to protect her newfound monster family. But the Demon Defense Force has a kill-on-sight policy for monsters. Yuki is caught in the middle. He's a slave to the humans, but his blood is with the monsters. It's Romeo and Juliet if Juliet were a government-sanctioned dominatrix and Romeo was a demon dog. Episodes 6 and 7 give us the first major tournament arc vibes, without an actual tournament. The 7th squad clashes with the 6th squad. Enter Tenka Izuo.
Okay, stop everything. We need to talk about Tenka. If Kyoka is the strict boss, Tenka is the thirstiest woman in the history of anime. She is the chief of the 6th squad. Her power involves manipulating space, allowing her to teleport and ignore defense. But her only motivation? She just wants a husband. She is down astronomically bad. She takes one look at Yuki, this bland, domestic, obedient boy, and decides he is the one. She doesn't want him as a slave, she wants him as a spouse. She bypasses the will they, won't they trope and goes straight to when is the wedding. The interactions between Tenka and Yuki are the comedic peak of the show. She teleports into his bed. She tries to bribe him. She protects him with the ferocity of a lioness guarding a particularly tasty gazelle. Tenka is the MVP. I will hear no arguments.
天下さん、なんで俺の部屋に？
可愛い寝顔たっぷり見せてもらったよ。
By episode 8, the show shifts gears into high-octane action. The humanoid Shuki are planning to destroy the vortexes, or something nefarious. Honestly, I was distracted by the physics of the uniforms, but the stakes are high. The 6th and 7th squads team up to raid the enemy base. This is where the animation budget, which had been saving its pennies, finally decides to ball out. We get to see Kyoka actually fight. Not just command Yuki, but throw hands. She uses her katana, she moves like water, she proves why she's the chief. We also see the other captains in action. Episode 9 is a highlight because we see the limits of the slave contract. Yuki is getting worn out. The rewards are great and all, but the dude is taking massive physical damage every time he transforms. He's essentially burning his life force to be a useful tool. It adds a layer of genuine stakes to the battles. He's not an overpowered isekai protagonist who can one-shot everything. He's a battery that is slowly leaking acid. During the raid, Yuki confronts his sister Aoba again. It's emotional. Aoba tries to get Yuki to join the dark side. "We have cookies," she basically says, "and we don't treat you like a pet." It's a valid argument. The monsters actually treat Yuki with more respect than the humans do. But Yuki, loyal dog that he is, sticks with Kyoka. Why? Because he believes in her dream of a world where everyone is treated equally. Also, probably because of the rewards, let's be real. The battle reaches a fever pitch. We get a tag team match, Kyoka and Tenka versus the Demon Commanders. It's flashy, it's loud, and it involves a lot of shouting attack names. But the real kicker is the synergy between Kyoka and Yuki. They unlock a new level of synchronization. It's not just master and servant, it's partners. They move in unison. The emotional bond strengthens the physical power. It's the classic shonen trope of Nakama power, but recontextualized through a contract. We reach the finale with episode 11, the big brawl. The humanoid Shuki unleashes their ultimate weapon, a giant kaiju thing that threatens to wipe out the squad. Everyone is exhausted. Tenka is out of juice. Shushu is down. It's up to Kyoka and Yuki. This is the moment. The music swells. The animation gets a little sharper. Kyoka realizes that she can't just use Yuki as a tool. She has to trust him as a warrior. They push the slave ability to its limit, entering a berserk mode. Yuki goes feral. He rips the giant monster apart. It's visceral, it's violent, it's actually kind of cool. Like for a second, I forgot I was watching a show about magical peaches and bondage, and I was just hyped for the monster slaying. They defeat the threat, but Aoba and the main villains escape. It's a draw, but a tactical victory for humanity. Episode 12 is the cooldown, the post-nut clarity, if you will. The squad returns to base. They are battered and bruised, but the dynamic has shifted. Yuki isn't just the janitor anymore, he's a recognized hero. Even the haters in the Demon Defense Force have to admit that the boy has got hands. We get a touching scene between Yuki and Kyoka. She thanks him, not as a master to a slave, but as a person. She promises to make him the commander of the Demon Defense Force one day, or at least the commander's husband? It's vague. But because this is Chained Soldier, we can't end on a purely wholesome note. We have a backlog of rewards to get through. The finale creates a montage of reward time. Tenka gets her turn, Shushu gets her turn.
なんか小さくて可愛いねこれ。ウケるんだけど。
Kyoka gets her turn. It's a buffet, a smorgasbord of culture to send the audience home happy. The season ends with a teaser of the grander conspiracy, the gods of Mato, the corruption within the human government, and the inevitable war to come. But more importantly, it ends with Yuki smiling, cleaner in hand, ready to scrub the floors of destiny. So what have we learned from the Chained Soldier? On the surface, it is exactly what it says it is. It is a shamelessly matriarchal battle fantasy that caters to a very specific set of kinks. It knows what it is, and it doesn't apologize for it. But beneath the latex and the suggestive camera angles, there's a surprisingly solid skeleton. The power system is creative. The character dynamics, especially the evolving trust between Yuki and Kyoka, are genuinely sweet. The idea that intimacy, forced or otherwise, equals power is a metaphor that I'm sure a psychology major could write a thesis on, but I'm just here for the fights. The production value? It's a roller coaster. Sometimes it's a slideshow, sometimes it's elite. The CGI monsters are rough, I'm not gonna lie. They look like they belong in a bowling alley strike animation. But the character art, the key scenes, the budget was allocated very carefully. They knew where the eyes would be looking. Is it high art? No. Is it trash? Yes. Did I watch every single second of it with a grin on my face? Absolute. Chained Soldier is the junk food of anime. It's greasy, it's bad for you, and you feel a little guilty afterwards, but man does it hit the spot on a Friday night. If you are tired of complex political dramas or sad boys crying in mechs, and you just want to see a guy turn into a monster and get rewarded by beautiful women, this is your show. It is a monument to the I can fix him mentality, except fixing him involves turning him into a weapon of mass destruction. And that's the recap. If you enjoyed watching me slowly lose my dignity explaining the nuances of magical slavery, hit that like button. Let me know in the comments. If you had a superpower that required a reward to activate, what would your reward be? And keep it TOS friendly, you degenerate. Until next time.